The date, December 27th, 1975. A day that would be remembered for its tragic events. The place Chasnala, a small mining town in the heart of India. Known for its rich coal reserves, it was a bustling hub of activity. It was a day that began like any other, with miners descending into the depths of the earth to extract coal, the black gold that fueled India's growing economy. The miners, clad in their work gear, carried with them the hopes and dreams of their families. Little did they know that this day would end in tragedy, forever etching Chasnala's name in the annals of mining disasters. The air was thick with anticipation, but no one could foresee the impending doom. The Chasnala colliery, owned by the Indian Iron and Steel Company, was a vast network of underground tunnels and shafts. These tunnels, though a marvel of engineering, held hidden dangers. Hundreds of miners toiled tirelessly in its depths, extracting the coal that powered India's industries. Their work was grueling, yet they persevered, driven by the promise of a better future. On that fateful day, however, the mine transformed from a source of lifeblood into a watery tomb, claiming the lives of hundreds of unsuspecting souls. A massive explosion caused water from a nearby reservoir to flood the mine, trapping the miners in a deadly embrace. Rescue efforts were swift but ultimately futile, as the scale of the disaster overwhelmed all attempts to save those trapped below. The tragedy of Chasnala remains a somber reminder of the perils faced by those who venture into the earth's depths in search of its hidden treasures. At approximately 12:35 p.m., disaster struck. A section of the mine's wall, weakened by previous extractions and inadequate support, gave way with a deafening roar. Tons of earth and rock collapsed into the mine's lower workings, trapping hundreds of miners in a subterranean prison. But the worst was yet to come. The collapse breached an adjacent abandoned mine, one that had been filled with millions of gallons of water. The water, held back by the fragile barrier of earth, surged into the active workings of the Chasnala mine with the force of a tsunami. The miners, trapped by the initial collapse, had nowhere to escape. The torrent of water, estimated to be over 4.5 million gallons, ripped through the mine shafts with terrifying speed. The miners, caught completely off guard, had no time to react. The lucky ones were killed instantly by the sheer force of the water or the collapsing mine. Others faced a more agonizing fate, trapped in the darkness as the water level rose relentlessly around them. The air inside the mine, already thick with coal dust, became unbreathable as the water rushed in. The miners' lamps, their only source of light, flickered and died, plunging them into absolute darkness. Hope, once a flickering flame, was extinguished in the cold, unforgiving grip of the mine. Rescue efforts began immediately, but the situation was dire. The initial response was swift, with teams of rescue workers and emergency responders rushing to the scene, hoping to save as many lives as possible. However, the challenges they faced were immense. The scale of the disaster, the flooding, and the unstable conditions of the mine made rescue operations incredibly dangerous and difficult. The water levels continued to rise, and the structural integrity of the tunnels was compromised, making every step a perilous journey for the rescuers. As days turned into nights, hope dwindled, and the grim reality of the situation set in. Rescuers worked tirelessly, often through the night, driven by the faint hope of finding survivors. Their determination was unwavering, but the odds were stacked against them. The mine, once a hive of activity, fell silent, the only sound the mournful cries of families desperate for news of their loved ones. The once bustling site was now a place of sorrow and despair, with abandoned equipment standing as silent witnesses to the tragedy. The recovery of bodies proved to be a monumental task. Each body recovered was a somber reminder of the lives lost, and the process was slow and painstaking. The rescuers faced numerous obstacles, from treacherous conditions to the emotional toll of their work. The sheer volume of water and debris made it impossible to recover all of the victims. The mine was a labyrinth of destruction, with waterlogged shafts and debris-filled tunnels hindering every effort to reach those still trapped inside. In the end, only a fraction of the bodies were recovered, many of them unidentifiable due to the horrific conditions. The harsh environment had taken its toll, leaving many families without closure. their loved ones lost to the depths of the mine. The official death toll was set at 375, but the actual number lost is believed to be much higher. The true extent of the tragedy may never be known, but the impact on the community and the families affected is immeasurable. Memorial services were held to honor those lost, a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the dangers faced by those who work beneath the earth. Section 5. Echoes of Past Disasters. The Chasnala mining disaster sent shockwaves throughout India and the world. It was a stark reminder of the inherent dangers of mining and the devastating consequences of negligence. Sadly, Chasnala was not an isolated incident. History is replete with similar tragedies, each a testament to the human cost of mining for resources. The Courrières mine disaster in France in 1906, one of the deadliest mining disasters in history, claimed the lives of over 1,000 miners. Like Chasnala, it involved a catastrophic collapse and subsequent flooding. Closer to home, the Dhanbad colliery disaster in 1965, also in India, resulted in the deaths of over 300 miners due to a gas explosion. Section 6. Unveiling the Truth, a Trail of Negligence. In the wake of the Chasnala disaster, a commission of inquiry was established to investigate the cause of the tragedy. The inquiry revealed a series of safety lapses and negligence that contributed to the disaster. Inadequate support pillars, improper mining techniques, and a failure to dewater the abandoned mine were identified as key factors. The inquiry also highlighted the lack of safety regulations and oversight in the mining industry. It became clear that the pursuit of profit had superseded the safety of the miners. The report concluded that the disaster was not an act of God, but a man-made tragedy, a direct result of negligence and a callous disregard for human life. The findings of the inquiries sparked outrage and grief across India. The nation mourned the loss of the miners, many of whom were the sole breadwinners for their families. The government, facing intense pressure, promised swift justice for the victims and their families. However, the wheels of justice turned slowly. Years passed, and while some individuals were held accountable, many believed that true justice was never served. The families of the victims struggled to rebuild their lives, haunted by the memory of their loved ones and the knowledge that their deaths could have been prevented. Today, a memorial stands at the site of the Chasnala mine disaster, a somber reminder of the tragedy and a tribute to the lives lost. It serves as a place of remembrance for the families of the victims and a stark warning to future generations about the importance of mine safety. The memorial is a testament to the human cost of industrial progress and a call for greater accountability and safety measures in the mining industry. It is a place where visitors can pay their respects, reflect on the tragedy, and honor the memory of those who perished in the depths of the earth. The Chasnala mining disaster, though a tragedy of immense proportions, served as a wake-up call for India and the entire world. It forced a re-evaluation of safety standards in the mining industry and led to the implementation of stricter regulations and oversight. The disaster highlighted the importance of proper training, adequate safety equipment, and regular inspections. It emphasized the need for a safety-first culture in the mining industry, one where the well-being of the miners is always paramount. The Chasnala mining disaster remains etched in the memory of India as one of its darkest days. On December 27, 1975, a massive explosion and subsequent flooding claimed the lives of 375 miners, leaving a scar that would never fully heal. It serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of industrial progress and the importance of prioritizing safety over profit. The disaster highlighted the perilous conditions under which miners toiled, often with inadequate safety measures and outdated equipment. The tragedy, though heartbreaking, led to positive changes in the mining industry with a renewed focus on safety and the implementation of stricter regulations. New laws were enacted to ensure better working conditions, and mining companies were held to higher standards of accountability. The legacy of Chasnala is a complex one, a mix of sorrow and hope. While the pain of loss lingers, the improvements in safety protocols and the increased awareness of miners' rights offer a glimmer of hope for a safer future. It is a reminder that the pursuit of progress must never come at the expense of human life, and that safety must always be the top priority. The lessons learned from Chasnala continue to influence mining practices, ensuring that the sacrifices of those miners were not in vain. The sacrifices made at Chasnala should never be forgotten, serving as a constant reminder to strive for a future where such tragedies are never repeated. As we remember the past, we must also commit to a future where every miner returns home safely at the end of each day.